Hey guys, it's Elijah Does Tech, and today I'm going to be bringing you a sub $300 gaming PC build. This is one I have been that I used for about 6 months, and it's enough to play just about any mainstream game you want, and it can even play some AAA titles if you turn the settings down to low and you notch down the resolution a little bit. So the first part of our build is the AMD A8 7600. This is an APU which gives you a quad-core CPU that clocks between 3.1 to 3.8 gigahertz, and also it has a built-in dedicated GPU which is very decent and will allow you to play mainstream games like Gary's Mod, Dota, League of Legends, anything like that with no problem. About 720p, 1080p, and it's a good deal. It comes with a decent CPU and decent integrated graphics. For the motherboard, we're going to be going with a Gigabyte GAF2A78M-D3H, name of the year. This is really just a cheap motherboard. It gives you the necessities. You get two PCIe slots, so you can crossfire if you decide to add two Radeon graphics cards in the future. You get USB 3.0 and four slots of RAM, so you get pretty decent expandability. It also comes with SATA 3 and USB 3.0. So you're definitely not lacking on modern features. For the memory, we're going with 8 gigabytes of Patriot memory Viper 4 series at 2400 megahertz. The reason it's at 2400 megahertz is because APU basically means that it's going to share the RAM between the GPU and the CPU. So the faster your memory is, the better performance you can get. Jay's 2 cents did a video on this where he showed the gains you can get from using fast memory going from 1600 megahertz all the way up to 2400 megahertz, and they're pretty significant. Our AP will only support 2133 megahertz, but this will work just fine with our system. It'll clock down to 2133 and give you some pretty decent speeds. So I prefer a SSD in my system because you can always add a hard drive later, but it's a lot harder to add an SSD later. So this is a really cheap and reliable SSD that I use. It's 120 gigabytes. That's enough to install Windows, your programs, and maybe a few basic games. It's really fast. It keeps things really nice and snappy, and it's a really good value at only $41. The next case, and here's the case. And the case we kind of cheap out on a little bit because a case is one of the parts of the computer that is not going to directly impact performance. This is a very bare bones case. It looks a little gray here, but I have one of these and it actually is black. Um, so you got headphone, microphone, USB 2, USB 3. With our motherboard though, that USB 3 is not actually going to work. You can find other cases that are a little bit more, but you won't quite get under $300 with them. And so this is a pretty decent case. It looks all right. Mounting options are terrible. You're gonna have to ghetto mount some of your hardware in here, but it's not bad looking and it's really cheap. So for our power supply, we're gonna go with an EVGA 500 watt power supply. Um, this is 80 plus certified, so it's going to be efficient and it's not going to blow up and catch your house on fire. It's also 500 watts, so that's a pretty decent amount of power, which will allow you to upgrade to a dedicated graphics card in the future and upgrade your CPU a little bit too. Um, it's a very good value PSU. It gets the job done and it doesn't break the bank. So like I said, all this is sub $300, and the total comes out to $296 right there. And another thing I made sure to check is that everything on here comes with Prime, so that if you were to build this exact machine right now, you could get it very fast with Prime. Um, but another thing you could do is this computer is very easy to upgrade too. If you have, let's say, more like a $450 budget, you could, instead of an APU, get an AMD Athlon X4860K Black Edition, which is basically the same CPU but clocked faster and unlocked for overclocking. But besides that, it's the exact same CPU. And add a entry-level graphics card. My favorite right now is the GTX 950. It gets really good performance. It doesn't require a lot of power, so that 500 watt power supply can support it, and it gets you good performance. And you can actually max out a lot of AAA games right now, so it's a really good value. So yeah, that's a sub $300 gaming PC that can actually play games fairly decently at 720p and 1080p. Thanks for watching.